So we're here in Ozello today with my good buddy Jackson Dean. We're gonna be chasing trout and redfish back in these deeper trenches today. We're gonna start off on this outgoing fishing for trout and then work our way back deep in the creeks and try to catch a couple redfish.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. It's been a little while since we got to fish together, not working, so should be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. This south breeze we have today, we got cold water, and usually when the wind blows out of the south on a cold water day, it's a good day of fishing.
Yeah, for sure. I think a little warmer weather we're gonna get today should make it pretty good for us.
See what we can make happen.
Let's do it, man.
So this week we're fishing at my home waters back in Ozello, Florida with my good buddy, Captain Jackson Dean. Ozello is really, I mean, even driving down the road to get to the boat ramp is the most true old Florida place, one of the most remote places you can find in the state of Florida. So we're starting off in this deeper trench here to try to catch a trout or two. We really need that sun to get up high for those redfish in those shallow ponds so we can see them a little bit better. We'll be able to get back there out of this wind and let that tide really drop out and get low so we can hopefully find a couple tailors.
So yeah, Brandon called me yesterday and asked if I was busy and had any plans. I said, no, man, you want to go fishing? So jumped on the boat, and I was always excited to get out there and go fish, you know, with a good buddy of mine. And it's been a while since the two of us got to go and fun fish, so I was looking forward to it.
First speckled trout of the morning, nice fish. Nice trout to start the morning off, nice 17, 18 incher. So fishing here in Christian River and Ozello and Homosassa pretty much every day, guide fishing with a lot of my good clients. And this time of year, the weather is so up and down, whether it's rain, cold, it gets hot. We've had days down in the 30s, and then we've had days up in the 80s almost. I mean, it's really fluctuating, and that's really making these fish move around a lot. It's really hard to get a pattern on them right now. Every day when I leave the dock, it's basically a new day of fishing. You don't have any idea what they're gonna be doing that day. So you gotta move around a lot and really pay attention to what zones these fish are in. There's a nice one. That's a trout there.
That's a good trout.
Really long pause on that one. He smoked it when it was just sitting there.
That's a good one there.
Old yellowmouth. Real lethargic this morning with that water temperature being so cold. Nature Coast sea trout. Fish is cold. Nice little trout.
Pretty one. Bet that water's in the low 50s this morning.
Yeah, it definitely is. Seems when it gets real cold like that on these trout, you really got to slow down your presentation to get it to bite. He hit it. It must have been paused for 5-6 seconds before he hit it. So in today's shoot, we had some really different conditions than what we have been having. The water temp's super cold, and we've been having a lot of northeast wind. And today the wind switched out of the south. We got a big front pushing in. We expected it to be really good fishing with that south wind, but it turned out to be a little bit tougher than we expected.
I think these trout are going to be up here kind of laying up shallow first thing this morning, trying to warm up a little bit, or you think they're going to be, you know, kind of getting into the deeper stuff?
I think they'll be up here on this shallow flat to start, and as that tide drops out, they're going to fall off on the edges of these deeper pockets, or maybe even in the bottom of them on that little bit warmer water. And then as the tide comes back up, they'll get on those rocks that have been exposed for that really warm water later in the day.
Yeah. They're being a little lethargic on us this morning, but you gotta love a good January trout bite.
Absolutely.
When they get going.
Once you find them, it seems this time of year, you'll find a good pocket of them.
Yeah.
Kind of not much scattered fish, they're kind of concentrated.
Just gotta put in a little bit of work for them, but when you find them, it's worth it.
Yep. So coming into the morning, we really had a good plan together. We were gonna shoot out to the outside and fish some of the trenches and really let that water get low and try to catch a couple trout. We hit a couple of our favorite spots, and we caught a couple nice ones, but it really wasn't panning out like we wanted to. So then we moved to the back to chase the redfish. So there's 3 boat ramps in Ozello, and no matter which one you pick, it is going to be some really treacherous terrain, rocky bottom, way back in the creeks. I mean, you're really, when you start fishing in Ozello, you're 4 or 5 miles from the outside island, so you're all the way back in the creeks. And on today's episode, we moved from the eastern edge of Ozello and it went even further back in the creeks.
Well, this water looks like it's warming up a little bit, and these fish are kind of starting to move right on the edge of these bars. I think this shoreline's going to be pretty good for us. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that tide's dropping out, and those fish are really keying in on that shallow stuff. Some of them are being kind of spooky, but the ones that are acting right, they're biting. It's just, you got to push a long ways to find that group of fish, but we've seen a bunch right in here, so hopefully we'll be able to catch a couple.
Yeah, I think the rest of the shoreline's going to be really good for us. All over it.
Got him. Right in there with them mullet.
Oh. Will be. It's not the biggest one, but it's a start, and he's right there with those mullet like he should be. So we'll see. Hopefully the rest will follow suit, and some bigger ones will. So yeah, starting out in the morning, you know, Brandon and I had high hopes, thinking the fishing was going to be, you know, really good. We had beautiful weather, but we were quickly reminded that, you know, it's not always that, not always like that, and we just had to kind of put our nose down to the grindstone and just kind of ground and pound, you know, keep fishing what we knew would work. We started to kind of see a pattern that was working, but the fish were being real skittish and timid, so we eventually just kind of kept honing in on what we were seeing and just kind of had to really ground and pound, and it finally, you know, it worked out and we were able to put together a nice catch of fish.
So coming into early January and middle of January, we have a lot of really low tides. The winter time, we call them winter blowouts. It's super shallow, and for the redfish, that's actually a really good thing, because when those rocks get exposed, they really heat up and get really hot. And then when the water comes back over top of them, those fish will move up there on those warmer spots. We had scared a couple of fish and really spooked them off, so we slowed down big time. And one of our catches, I mean, I watched the fish eat, and he pitched the bait out there and he was working it so slow, and the fish would nose up on it and he would hop it, centimeters it seemed like. And it took him almost 20 seconds to get that fish to actually commit. When he first casted, we thought it spooked, but he spun around and he nosed down, and it really took him a little bit to eat that bait. Oh yeah, big one. Dude.
Oh, you came back.
Stop it. Pop it. Got him. Big one. That was badass right there. Good to eat right there.
That was sick.
Nice one too.
Dude, he blew off of that thing and he came back around. He wanted it bad.
He nosed up to it like 3 times, and then he finally grabbed a hold of it. I'm gonna power pull us down here.
Yeah, you're good.
I'll get down and help you.
Another one just bolted off right there. Let me get. Dude, that was sick.
That was a nice eat.
That was what you want right there.
I thought he spooked, but he just was rolling back around on it.
Nice fish.
Oh yeah. That's what we're looking for right there.
Well, that was perfect. Wheeled around and he just smoked that thing, dude.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was sick right there. All right, grab that hook out.
So that first fish, we were pulling down the shoreline and we kind of went almost by the bar he was on, and I turned around and Brandon and I both saw the fish about the same time, and we were like, there he is. And slung the bait over to him, and immediately the fish spooked off, and we're like, oh no. But 2 little hops of the jig and the fish turned right back around and he nosed up on the bait. Brandon was kind of saying, you know, hop it again, and he's falling right to the boat. And finally, about the 4th or 5th time, he finally committed, and we came tight to him. And I mean, it was an insane eat to watch, you know, in 6 inches of water, a 26, 27-inch redfish come up and do that is just something special to see.
That was absolutely awesome.
That was textbook right there, buddy. That was awesome.
We're going to have to try that again. I do a lot of guide fishing and I always have people on the bow of my boat, but having Jackson on the bow today and him really being able to see those fish, and before I can even see them sometimes because of the glare, that really helps. A good pair of sunglasses, being able to see those fish and really just paying attention to the zones these fish are in. Sometimes they're tight to the bank, but he figured out that they were a little off the bank, and that was key to today's success. Got him. Big one. Nice one.
That was sweet.
I seen him mount up.
I saw him boil on something, dude.
Good fish, too.
He's going back this way.
Oh, yeah. 2 or 3 of them right there.
Nice one. Dude, this is a nice one, B.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a sickie again.
Dude.
I mean,
you saw him boil and you told me, you're like, throw it up there real quick. And dude, he piled on this thing.
It was 8 or 10 inches he ate that thing. They noticed stay right underneath that boat. I'm gonna power pole us down and I'll help you grab him.
Good, I'm gonna let him kind of tire himself out for a second. Pretty fish there, son.
A nice one.
That was a good one.
Up there in the shallow stuff.
Sick eat too.
Little Z-Man. Redfish toad's getting it done today.
He wanted it.
Nice one.
Nice fish. Yeah, no, I mean, we noticed pretty quickly, you know, we originally tried to start out trout fishing. That's what we thought was going to be our, you know, bread and butter of the day, but we quickly saw how they weren't acting right, and we decided, all right, well, let's change gears, and we moved back to the back. And first couple of fish we saw, they cooperated, but you know, it was just, something was off. They just weren't acting right. So we just knew we just had to, you know, ground and pound, keep sticking to what we knew would work, hit areas that we knew would be productive, and just, you know, pull up to a shoreline, fish a shoreline we knew would be productive. If it wasn't productive, move on to the next one. Just keep on, keep on, keep on. And finally we were able to find a few fish that were willing to cooperate for us and put it together.
Another nice one.
Dude, that was textball right there, buddy. That was awesome.
As this tide gets lower here, those fish are starting to act right. They're pushing off the bank a little bit, but they're in that super shallow water, and it seems if you get a bait in front of them, they're eating.
They're eating now. That water warming up a little bit, they're getting a little more active. Let's see what we got in store the rest of this afternoon.
This time of year, it really kind of key to, we get out here early, but that afternoon bite is always going to be the best. When that water temperature, people don't know, it'll go up 4 or 5 degrees as the day goes on, and that's when those fish are really going to want to cooperate. This morning we started, it was like 60, 61, and now I'm sure we're up 65, 66 degrees, and those fish really adjust to it and start biting.
Oh yeah, you can tell the difference in them. They're a lot more willing than they were 2 hours ago.
It seems these fish are hanging any hard point with a little bit of current, not that hard current, but a little bit of current and some hard bottom. Almost every one has had a fish on it here the last hour or so.
Yep, I think you're right. They're getting warmed up and starting to feed a little bit. So see if we can get a couple more to cooperate for us coming down their shoreline.
Kind of gives us a little bit of a pattern here later in the day to be able to, helps a lot, just paying attention to little things like that. And some days they're in the little coves and some days they're on the point. But once you figure it out, it's usually pretty good.
Yep, got to play the game to find it out. My personal favorite, I mean, I love getting back there in the backcountry, catching snook, redfish, and trout. Love doing the shallow water grouper thing that we have in our area. But I think my personal favorite is, you know, probably snook and redfishing on topwater plugs. That's my favorite. But doing anything like we did today, you know, sight fishing redfish that's pretty hard to beat. Watching a redfish turn around and come and hail a bait in 6 inches of water is something pretty special. So we covered a lot of ground fishing today. We fished all over the place, and in the end we really figured out we should have just put our noses down and grinded and stuck with the fish that we found earlier in the day and really just put the pressure to get them to bite. We moved around a lot, but we ended up going back to where we started and had some success. Old rat red. Old rat red.
after the day is all said and done and we fished pretty much daylight to dark, it was really, really key to basically just put your head down and grind on those fish. There wasn't a bunch of fish there. You had to pull a long ways to see fish, but most of them were being really cooperative. I was getting tired. I like to move fast. I like to be able to find a big migration of fish, and some days it's not like that. So today I really wish I would have just slowed down and stayed in one area and focused on those fish and just covered ground in that area, and I think we would have had a few more bites. So the tide's pushed up and we made a big run back here in the back, about as far back as you can go.
Yeah, we're pretty close to the wood line. You know you're far back when you can see the trees back there, so.
Bunch of bait, and when that water gets cold, these fish will get in these holes. Hopefully we can make something happen here.
Yeah, it looks right. We'll find us a couple that want to cooperate for us now.
This tide's come way up, and the wind started blowing really hard, so we made a move out to some bigger islands where we can get on these rocks where these fish have moved up on as they've warmed up throughout the day, and catching a couple little rats, see if we can run into a big one. Hey guys, gonna give you a little bit of rundown of what we used on today's show. In the morning, we started off trout fishing in the deeper pockets, and we were just throwing a 5 and a 5.5 inch fluke with a 3/0 Gamakatsu J hook through the nose. Weightless, very simple, just an easy all around rig for catching those trout. And it worked really, really well. We didn't spend too much time trout fishing, and we rotated out to the main thing, what we did most of the day, and that's target the redfish and the snook. And we kept it really, really simple all day. We had 10-pound diamond braid. This is a 7'6" medium light TD Soul rod by Daiwa. 20-pound diamond fluorocarbon. We had to lighten up that leader a little bit because that water was super cold and clear. Most of the day we were using a Z-Man Chinlocks hook or just this swivel head Z-Man weighted jig head. This is a little paddle tail. It was absolutely killer. We had to go small. Redfish toad was our best color, but we rotated between a watermelon red and a copper a little bit, but that was really, really our go-to bait, especially for Jackson standing on the bow fishing most of the day. I kept the rod in my hip for most of the time, and I was actually just throwing the same exact jig head, but I was throwing it on a fluke. Just a little 4/0 fluke. I was using a little bit heavier so I could make a little bit longer cast standing on the back of the platform. Daiwa Certate 3000 TD Soul rod again, and like I said, 10-pound diamond braid and a 20-pound leader was key to success on today's shoot.
Yeah, I mean, it was coming down to the wire for us. I mean, sun was getting lower and lower, and we're like, we got to make something work here. And Brandon said, we're gonna make one last run back here, and we pulled up the shoreline. There's some mullet pushing around, and I threw that little Z-Man up there, and that first redfish came up and just smoked it. And we were like, okay, well, this is something. That's something. Put something together. And Brandon followed that up with a nice snook on his last cast, and you know what? That capped off a great day with just a little bit of success after a long day of just nonstop. You know, seeing fish not wanting to eat and fish not wanting to cooperate, but that right there at the end was the cherry on top for us.
There you go. Nice.
Nice one.
Oh yeah. Stay hooked. That's a big dog there. Oh my God, I just got crushed.
Do what?
I just got hammered. There you go. Last bank of the day.
Paid off a little bit.
That's right. Nice one. Nice fish.
Nice one.
Nice mid slot.
It made us earn them today, huh?
That's right. But that's how it is.
That's the way it goes.
They made us earn it today, but I mean, every day is just different.
That's how it is, man. You know what? We grinded for a while. We put together a nice little catch, and you know what? pretty Crystal River redfish at the end of the day is, you know, never a bad thing.
Absolutely. We'll make a few more casts here and call it a day.
Sounds good, buddy. Appreciate it.
Every day when Jackson and I get on the boat, our goal is to really catch them good. And we were kind of getting a little bit stressed there at the end of the day. I mean, it had been super tough. The fish were being spooky. They were not really reacting the way we wanted them to react. And to get those last couple bites late in the day was a huge stress reliever. Snook. Well, we said we were gonna make a couple more casts. Right at the end of the day, they're turning on. Nice snook. Well, nice little snook to end the day. We said we were gonna make a few more casts and caps off a slam right there.
That's right, buddy. That was a great time.
He
nice
absolutely slammed it.
Dude, he did. Pretty Crystal River snook.
Absolutely.
Good to see some of these guys around after that cold weather we just had.
Absolutely. Nice little fish there.
Pretty fish.
That's what you come to Crystal River for right there. Trout, reds, and snook all in the same day.
A lot of fun. Good way to cap it off right there.
With Local Lines TV, we love exploring new places. We've traveled all around the country this year, and being able to really just come back to my home waters and get to see our fishery and just get to fish it, it's truly God's country. I mean, I fished everywhere and there is no place like home. This place is just so remote. When you get back in those creeks, you don't see anyone and it's just a great feeling. Well, we set a few more casts on the last one, but we'll make that one the last one there and take her on to the house.
Sounds like a plan.